What would you say to China if they would invade Taiwan tomorrow on a moral basis? What's your argument going to be?
If there is a moral case,
yeah, there is. I want Taiwan.
There is not. There is
yes,
not.
there is. Yes, there is. The Chinese moral case is I want Taiwan because I believe that it should be reunified with me. That is the moral case.
It's not moral, Ali. It's not moral.
It is.
Taiwanese people are not getting killed by their own governments. We were getting killed, raped, executed.
Yeah, sure. Morality.
The
morality lies in the eye of the beholder, my friend. If you go down that road, and you're entitled to go down that road, then don't bleat when China invade Taiwan, and don't bleat when Russia invade Ukraine. Your argument about international law is totally and utterly redundant, because you have made it redundant by saying it doesn't matter because morals matter.
Okay, so the host's broader point here is about consistency in international law, and it's a classic debate on when, if ever, exceptions to sovereignty are justified. And the replies to the original video on LBC lean heavily towards a false equivalency for obvious reasons that I don't really need to go into here. But let us be clear, the presenter in the debate is treating states and power structures as though they are sacred absolutes, untouchable no matter how dystopian, brutal or murderous they become.
It is a film Iran doesn't want the world to see. The Stoning of Soraya M is based on the true story of a woman brutally killed after being falsely accused of adultery. Soraya is stoned to death in her Iranian village under Islamic Sharia law. The film is a graphic portrayal of a grotesque form of public punishment still endorsed by the Iranian government.
The question is, should sovereignty be a shield for regimes that rape, execute and massacre on a massive scale? And if so, does a regime that slaughters tens of thousands whilst its citizens scream for rescue and beg the world not to look away, finally forfeit any moral claim to sovereignty? Surely the true absolute here isn't a state, it's the people. And if we are to treat power structures and sovereignty as absolutes in law, then who do we formally turn to challenge a regime's brutality when it is carried out against its own citizens? Well, that would be the United Nations. And yet, the United Nations has proven impotent in confronting the regime's relentless butchering of the Iranian people. During the December to January protests, thousands were gunned down, tortured, disappeared, executed. And what did the UN offer? Words, condemnations, fact-finding mandates, calls for accountability that Tehran openly mocked and ignored. And then in February, Iran was elected vice chair of the UN Charter Committee, a position that can only be described as a moral absurdity given the regime's actions.
If you want crazy, go to Victoria or the United Nations. That's your other option, where Iran have just been made co-chairs of the Committee for Social Development. Now, the UN's Committee for Social Development focuses on gender equality, tolerance, non-violence and promoting, would you believe it, democracy. Could you imagine a worse nation to co-chair a committee responsible for the promotion of democracy around the world than Iran? I'm not sure what is more surprising than that they were nominated for the position, or that when nominated, not a single voice of objection in the United Nations was raised.
I take it that the Commission wishes to elect by acclamation Mr. Abbas Tajik of the Islamic Republic of Iran and Mr. Shahryar Khajiev of Azerbaijan as vice chairs of the 65th session of the Commission for Social Development. I hear no objection. It is so decided.
Are they completely unaware about what's been happening in Iran the last number of weeks?
The hard truth is this. The UN's hollow response did not stop a single killing. It exposed a structural paralysis, an institution unable or unwilling to confront determined tyrants. And it was precisely that failure that drove President Trump to bypass the organisation altogether, choosing decisive unilateral strikes over endless, fruitless debates. For millions of Iranians who suffered in silence whilst the world watched and did nothing effective, the UN's inaction was not diplomacy, it was abandonment. And actually, Annoyingly, from what I'm seeing, the loudest critics aren't against intervention per se. They are against the person who dared to intervene. And as usual, and this is something we are seeing quite a lot of lately, is principles bending to politics, not people.
But do you know what is truly terrifying? A regime that can kill at least 32,000 people in a short time, and the world barely covers it. Terrifying is watching so-called human rights representatives shake hands with those who killed our people. Terrifying is the silence when thousands were massacred, and now suddenly voices rise to say no to war and blame America and Israel. But the truth is, we welcome their military support. What is truly terrifying is this regime staying in power.
I guess time will tell who was right. History will judge the risks. And no doubt this was also an opportunistic display of USA strength. But today, the Iranian people, the real absolute, are elated. They are dancing in the streets, honking their horns, lighting fireworks, shouting freedom from the balconies, weeping tears of joy. Millions feel hope for the first time in decades. So yes, international law matters, but it cannot be an ironclad excuse to let brutal regimes crush their citizens forever. When the people themselves, the real absolute, are rising in hope and celebration, perhaps it is time that we prioritise their humanity over the sanctity of oppressive power structures. The Iranian people deserve freedom, and today, many feel closer to it than ever before.
Do not feel ashamed by calling these people reformists. They are ISIS. Kick them out from your country and stand with the victims, not dictators. I know I had only 3 minutes. I'm going to leave Geneva forever. You can kick me out forever, but I couldn't keep silent because I feel the guilt on my shoulder. I don't know how to save my people with empty hand. I cannot sometimes sleep. I cannot breathe. I cannot even eat because I feel guilty. I cannot believe how come the leaders of European countries do not feel guilty by shaking the hand of those Islamic Republic officials full of blood. Shame on you.